Hey everybody, what's going on? We are officially 10 days out from the NHL's trade deadline, and the Montreal Canadiens are certainly a team to be watching right now in terms of who they could ship out ahead of that March 21st deadline at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. I think there's a very interesting conversation to be had right now around two of the Montreal Canadiens' Finnish players, and that's Joel Armia and Artturi Lehkonen. There is no doubt that the Montreal Canadiens would trade Artturi Lehkonen if the price is right, and they've said that about pretty much everyone on their roster. If they get the return they're looking for, they will deal these players. We saw it in the Tyler Toffoli trade, and Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon have essentially confirmed that to the media in their briefings along the way, and I think that would be the smart decision with Lehkonen if they can get that healthy return. But there was an interesting tidbit that was noted on TSN 690's radio show this morning, where Darren Dreger hinted out that the Montreal Canadiens are receiving phone calls about Joel Armia, and I really think that could change the equation here and really give the Montreal Canadiens something to think about if they can get Joel Armia's $3.6 million salary off the books. I think the conversation that needs to be had, if the Montreal Canadiens are able to get out of that Joel Armia contract, then do you consider keeping Artturi Lehkonen depending on what the offers you do get for him on the market are? Because Artturi Lehkonen would produce a lot more value than Joel Armia does at that current cap hit, and you think he'd be looking for a similar type deal. Artturi Lehkonen is really having a fantastic year for the Montreal Canadiens, and he's one of the only players that can really say that even through all the bad times, Lehkonen has still been a very consistent force. He's been elite defensively and been very good offensively, which is something we necessarily haven't seen for the majority of his career. But really, he's been a consistent 10 to 15 goal scorer for the majority of his NHL career, and he's still relatively young as a 26-year-old player. So you can really make the case that things could go either way for this young Finnish player. I think the Montreal Canadiens would be wise to put him on the market, see the type of returns they can get for him, and if they don't get any of those calls that they are looking for in terms of the return they want, then I think they could resign him to a similar type deal with the Joel Armia contract that we saw Marc Bergevin sign prior to this season. You could then ask yourself, are you falling into the trap that the Montreal Canadiens did with Joel Armia and getting locked into that term contract for a bottom six player? But Artturi Lehkonen is finally getting that chance to shine in a more offensive role right now with the Montreal Canadiens. He's getting second power play time, and that's not to say he's been successful on the power play, but if you look at what he's done all year long, he's finding ways to score goals, and he's had that same motivation and defensive impact that we've seen him have for the entirety of his career. So I think that plays a real value in what the Montreal Canadiens have to offer on a night in, night out basis. Something that Joel Armia just didn't really bring to the table because, like we've mentioned in the past, this is not a player that has been consistent throughout his tenure in the National Hockey League. Where we stand right now, I'm not sure there is a correct answer for where the Montreal Canadiens should and will go with this decision. I think it all will depend on the type of offers that they receive for Artturi Lehkonen and if they can get Joel Armia off the books ahead of that March 21st trade deadline. That's it for me today from Cook's Corner. As always, let me know in the comment section down below whether you think the Montreal Canadiens should extend Artturi Lehkonen or see what they can get for him on the open market. I'm Zach Cook. We'll see you later.